Could you give me a virtual walkthrough of the new store prototype?
Yeah, sure. We're really excited about it. You can see it behind me here, I guess. It's yeah. So Fresh Flex, I mean, just a quick walkthrough. So we, one from a brand image standpoint, we're really proud of it. I mean, we were looking to create something that was ownable, from a color palette standpoint, something could really stand out in the universe of, QSR and something that it aligned with our brand positioning. And that's really where that component fresh comes in, because as you probably remember, is when we talked last year, our brand position is unique because we have this really great value proposition that includes, fresh prep and fresh foods. So bringing in whole produce into the restaurants and, grilling our meats and, the added value that you get coming to Del Taco at price points that are really similar to the fast food category, if not better. And we're really proud of that. So that fresh component gets built in. As you can see, the green tower that lights up at the LED tower that lights up at night. And then the flexibility of the prototype as we thought about where the consumer was moving, clearly we wanted to make sure that this was a fully tech-enabled prototype and that we could leverage technology to serve the guests wherever they wanted to be served, whether it be through, the access and convenience of our drive-through, or whether that be through delivery or other ways that they wanted to use technology to interact with our restaurants. We just need to make sure we were set up for success in that area. And we fully tech-enabled this prototype, and, every kind of service mode you can think of can be accessed via technology. And then the other component that we wanted to make sure was built in, we layered on what we call our menu of venues strategy, which was this idea of now you've got this fully tech-enabled proto that gives consumers access however they want it, whether, and recognizing that, pre-pandemic, we were always just building a 2,400 square foot, freestanding drive-through prototype. And now the question around, you don't always need that size build out in order to access a trade area, or be successful in a trade area. And we wanted to give our franchisees the ability to be the entrepreneurs that they are and kind of have this portfolio, if you will, i.e. menu of venues, of capabilities from 1,000 square foot drive-through only building that's fully tech enabled, all the way up to what you see behind me, which is the standard dining room prototype at 2,300 square foot, and everything in between. Just being very flexible in our approach to how we access a market, access a trade area, and expand our access to real estate.
What we're hearing a lot from both you and other folks in the industry is the importance of meeting the guests where they are, especially since, the pandemic has taught us that the guest wants to have access to their favorite food, both in person, not in person, anywhere in between, etc. What have you kind of learned from that journey over the past couple of years?
Yeah, no, I think the consumer adoption curve that has accelerated and it nearly has become vertical, I would say, over the last couple of years with technology integration to a guest, how guests want to experience their restaurants or their retail, experiences. It's pretty amazing. So, listen, when consumer demand is that strong and convenience, really is driven in that direction, you need to be able to have the ability to kind of, deliver on that for your guests, right? So typically when consumers, historically, when you think about convenience and access and how that has changed over the last, couple of decades with the internet and technology and, restaurants now, once guests get that level of convenience, they don't typically want to give it back, right? You don't want to go back to the old antiquated way you used to get your food. So we think these things are sticky because the driver is convenience. And, that's where we want to make sure that we are in a position as a brand to deliver on that. Example would be, our drive-through only prototype, which we'll be building the first ones this year. So we're really excited. We've got franchisees starting to build those this year that are the Fresh Flex model, which is exciting. So even though you don't have a dining room, because we're fully tech enabled and because there's a consumer willingness to use their mobile device and technology to access, restaurant brands and food and do their ordering. We were able to make that a pretty well-rounded, experience, even though it's drive-through only, from a service mode perspective. So not only do you have the ability to leverage tech at the drive-through to improve, guest experience and throughput with those double drive-through lanes and digital menu boards that we've put in to make it easier to order, through the drive-through and improve our capacity. But we've also got the ability to do things like, we were doing mobile lockers as an example. That's both for delivery drivers and for guests. So you can use the Delia Rewards program, and scan the QR code and pick up your food without having to go into the restaurant if you'd like. We also are leveraging things like the app and the order ahead feature to for a program specifically for drive-through only called Park and Get It. And Park and Get It's all about, that consumer that still has that need. Maybe they're on the go and we don't have a dining room in that restaurant and they want to make it as convenient as possible. So they can park in our parking lot. They can access our menu through their mobile device and our app, do their order, and we'll bring the food out to their car. Now their car basically becomes the dining room for them while they're on premise with us. So number of ways to kind of get after on and off premise. And I'm sure there will be new pieces that'll come together here over the next few years as the consumer continues to always change around what their expectation is around convenience. But the good news is, if you've got the technology and you've got the app and you've got the ability to to do that regularly through your operations, then you should be able to adapt and adjust as that consumer's journey changes, right? So that's kind of what we're most excited about. Is where we're at today is great. We think we're well positioned from a service mode perspective, but who knows what that could look like in the future. And we've got the fundamental foundation now to be able to address those things as they come up.
And you mentioned that drive-through only prototype. Where will the first drive-through only prototypes be?
So we've got a franchisee in New Mexico that'll be building the first drive-through only prototype, and hopefully everything stays on track and those get built, and it's looking good that's going to happen. He's really excited about it, and I think I think as we talk to our existing franchisees and then new prospects, this is a component that they're really, are excited about in the QSR drive-through arena. So as you think about pre-pandemic, we were really all building those freestanders with the bigger lot size because you needed the capacity for the drive-through and the dining room, and recognizing that not every situation calls for that. There's plenty of arguments to be made that there's trade areas and capabilities that we have today in trade areas that you don't necessarily need a dining room to be successful. You could do similar AUVs as you were doing with a dining room pre-pandemic now on a smaller footprint, because you've not only got the added drive-through capacity, but you also have the delivery piece that is now a big part of our sales and a big part of how consumers order food. So you've got these other elements now that have come into your sales, that help you to, perhaps perform at a like or similar AUV with a much smaller footprint. So the goal around that menu of venues initiative for our franchisees was really, how can I improve the portfolio unit economics for you? So I want to really make sure that we have strong unit economics. It starts with strong AUVs and making sure that consumer demand's right. And when you got that, you've got that. Your ability to manage your portfolio, if you will, through menu of venues. You may be building some drive-through onlys and having a lot of success. You may be building in some trade areas some standard prototypes of dining rooms because it makes sense in that trade area. But overall, you should have a stronger portfolio unit economics because you've got more assets, if you will, to pull out of your toolbox.
Yeah, I think it's all about learning to be flexible and roll with the punches as customer demands continue to change.
Sure.
And we've seen the restaurant industry kind of collectively, it seems like as a whole, overhauling their store footprints over the past year and a half. So what to you makes Del Taco's new store kind of stand out from others in the industry, or what are you most excited for in the Fresh Flex model?
Yeah, I think the additional access to real estate that our franchisees will have, that maybe we did not have pre-pandemic, with the with the old way of thinking around the model, right? That it was dining room and had to be a certain square footage, et cetera. I think that flexibility is a big a big driver for accelerating growth at Del Taco through franchising. Both prospective franchisees, new franchisees, as well as existing franchisees have come to us and said they're really excited about that. So that's a big deal. I think the other piece that we get really excited about is the way that Fresh Flex can enable our brand position, right? So I think the look, the feel, the capabilities that it has from addressing consumer needs, and then the way that it aligns with our brand positioning. I mean, we have that fresh prep under the same roof is really great value, and having the signature green color and that look and feel that looks really fresh and connotates that, I think really sets the brand image up for great success in the long run.
Mhm. And we spoke about how this is affecting franchisees and also customers, of course. But I'm curious, what has the employee response been to this new store prototype?
Yeah, so we opened our first our first Fresh Flex prototype in Orlando just a few weeks ago, and that is our larger build out. That is full dining room in that market. We've got the double drive-through Y lane. We've got the digital menu boards. We've got the mobile pickup. So all the bells and whistles are at the store in Orlando. It's a larger footprint. And the employees are completely excited about it. We've got some brand transplants from the Atlanta market up in the Southeast that have come down to help run our operations down in Orlando, and they couldn't be more pleased when we unveiled to them what the restaurant image was going to look like, and the different operational capabilities that they were going to have. And one of them that became really, really important to us as we were developing this prototype was, we really built menu of venues around the kitchen. So it was all about, we called it our scalable kitchen. And essentially we don't want to sacrifice our operators' ability to deliver a great guest experience, regardless of if it's 1,000 square foot proto or a 2,300 square foot proto or a conversion, a conversion. So we always want that kitchen to be the same. And we want that muscle memory and the ease of execution that we've developed into our kitchen design to be consistent across the chain, so that franchisees, as they're building, the training's consistent, helping their folks to understand how to deliver the brand in the best possible way is consistent. It just has so many benefits for us in regards to brand delivery. So that operational piece and how we thought about really not just making this really exciting and sexy for the consumer, as you thought about the look and the feel and the tech, but making it feel that way for our operators and our franchisees, and building in some of those operational components has been a big signature of this exercise as well.
Mhm. And finally, I would say, as the customer expectations keep evolving and technology keeps evolving as well, what are you looking to in the future? What will you be investing in when it comes to store prototypes and design? Is there anything that you have your eye on?
Well, yeah, I mean, as I think about this, I think we've got a really, a good-looking restaurant that represents the brand here that we want to continue to build out. So our build-outs moving forward are going to be Fresh Flex. Everything is going to have that look and that feel. I'm sure it will. I'm sure the design will evolve and iterate. It always does as you build, the first group, second group, third group, et cetera. So we'll continue to invest into Fresh Flex and continue to optimize Fresh Flex. The other opportunity we have as a brand that we're really excited about is remodeling and using the Fresh Flex prototype as an investment to remodel the existing fleet for our franchisees and our company restaurants. And the good news about that is, we've already got our first group of Fresh Flex remodels done. In the Q3, Q4 timeframe of 2021. So even though we just built our first new prototype in Orlando, we've been experiencing some of these elements in some of our remodel program over the last couple of quarters, and that's getting very exciting too. So I definitely anticipate we're going to be wanting to, and our franchisees are going to be wanting to, invest in transforming their existing Del Taco look and feel in restaurant into that Fresh Flex, image, as well as some of the things that we're bringing to the table now with the tech package and things like digital menu boards and the double drive-through lane where you're able to make that shift in a restaurant. But those will be investments that'll be wise investments to make for the future. And our goal is to have a really great return on investment model there that our franchisees and the company feel really good about, not just the brand side and the operations side, but also that return that you get when you make that investment in the brand for the long run. So that would be a big one for us moving forward.